It's never over until it's over. Town salvage a point on the road. Blackburn 1, Ipswich Town 1. But let's be honest, it was dreadful. Was it not? We'll break it all down. It's live right now. Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome back to your live match reaction show. I'm your host, the Gov, joined by Peter Cox and Beep himself, Stephen Parry, to give you our honest thoughts, feelings, reactions to what we've just seen as Town salvage a point on the road. It's never over until it's over. Blackburn taking the lead around the 80th minute mark. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but Town scoring with quite possibly the last kick of the game. Sindra Valiegli up and running. This show is partnered with Match Bingo and Stomach Osteopaths. More on those a little bit later on. We can't do these shows without you wonderful people. So if you're watching live, get active in our live chat. There's a link incoming. Should you want to come on the show and have your say, should you feel like you've got a question, a rant, something you want to get off your chest, whatever it might be, come on the show and have your say. There is a spot waiting for you just there. Look, it's right there. It's waiting just for you at home. And perhaps if you're not quite feeling ready to come on the show, I mean, let's be honest, after that performance, anyone still awake might not fancy waking themselves up to come on a show. Then you can exactly. I've been up since 5, Steve, and that game nearly put me in sleep. I'm not even going to lie. And we got our voice message service. It's free. You don't need to leave any details. No sign up required. No name even needed. Leave your opinion, and we'll play it on tomorrow's show. We're live again tomorrow, 8 p.m. As we so delightfully break it all down, even more detail, go further in our reaction. I can't wait already. Right, let's kick it off with our instant reaction thought. Coxie, I'll start with you. What's your instant reaction thought to Blackburn Rovers 1, which is Town 1?
In the words of the great Brian Clough, crap. It was bloody crap. Yeah, from our point of view, it was. I said to you off stage, how the hell are we going to do a show about that? You know, let alone whoever you got on tomorrow night, I do feel for you. How are you going to fill a show tomorrow night? We didn't show anything out there tonight. We were, people again. I can see in the comments there, they're saying about the changes. You could pretty much, if he was going to change it again, you could say, well, that it was going to be as it is. Perhaps you would say that Greaves may have been in for Kipray, but now he kept him in. But God, it was the first half was non-existent. I can't recall anything positive about it. It was just two things.
Just the first half.
The first half and the second half, we started off with I've had a bit of a rocket. That must have been about 5 minutes, and then it was situation normal. Here we go again.
Yeah,
and it was a well taken corner by them. But nobody was marking. We had about 5 red shirts there, standing there looking at each other. And Good Johnson comes in at the back post and said, "Thank you very much." And how somehow we got a draw out of it, and that's the only positive I can draw is we've now got another player who's broke his duck tonight, but we didn't deserve it, and they're going to they already feel aggrieved because. Back in September, they were 1-0 up. That got abandoned, and whatever minute it was, 83. So they're really going to be, and rightly so. We got away with it. So we got a lucky point tonight.
Yeah, Luke Warren says, first time I've said this, but McKenna's job is now under serious threat, and maybe we need to change before the season's over. Stuart, I'm writing this at the 78th minute. Rather Town go to 1-0 down. I'm a big McKenna fan, but I feel he's lost as to what to do. Interesting to know if that equaliser changes your thoughts there, Stuart. Lots and lots of comments coming in. I actually appreciate every single one of them. Mike D says Guinevere is today's match team selector, and that was a big talking point before the game. And I'm going to come to that in a moment, Steve. So park that just for a second. What's your instant reaction inside sort of 30 seconds, 60 seconds? What's your instant sum up of that of what you're feeling really after that 1-1 performance?
Probably the biggest thing that I'm taking from it is the same thing I took from a lot of our games when we've dropped points. We've given the goals. We've not done much. They've not had to do much to score a goal. We're either standing there watching, we pass the ball to them, when just hoof it 80 yards downfield out of touch is easier to do than what sometimes we do, which is most of the time. Oxford was the same. We just pass the ball to them, they score. It's as if like they've remembered what they did last season, but they were playing Premier League teams which did it every time. This time it's just happening 3 or 4 times. They have to have 3 or 4 goals to get a goal. In the Premier League, they did it every time they got a goal, every time we made a mistake. And they're still making simple, basic mistakes. Yes, we can put that on the manager and say, yes, well, maybe the manager should tell. We don't know he's not telling them not to do that. Because when we set off today, we started playing long. At the start of this game, nearly every ball, whether it was coming from the goalkeeper, whether it was coming from the defender, was being booted down long field for someone to run on. And then halfway through this first half, that changed. Now, you can make an argument that the managers told them to change that, or you can make the argument that the players decided we're not getting anywhere doing this. Let's go back to what we're comfortable with, and I don't think that worked. I think we were better because they weren't always getting the ball right, and the long ball wasn't always the best ball to play. But I think we were getting more joy playing the long ball than we were trying to pass out because they were just swamping the midfield and we couldn't get the ball into their half. So I just think just doing that didn't help us in the first half. I think sometimes with the down, I spoke to Dom on Twitter. I think sometimes we're just the architects of our own downfall. Do I think that, we're far and away from not being able to score? No, I don't. I still think we can go up. We're only a few points off second place. Playing like that, it's a push. But,
Steve, have you got
better than that.
Sorry, can I cross you there, Steve? Have you got the box on still? Is the TV still on? I can hear music as you're talking, Steve. And
it's the wife's telly. I'll shut the front door.
Excellent. Appreciate you, Steve. While you do that, we've got €10 from David. Thank you very much, David. Your kind generosity is truly appreciated. Thank you. Archie, do we think McKenna is being arrogant, putting the best players on the bench? Which kind of brings us into that selection. Obviously, Mike D earlier said, today's selection is Guinevere. What's your thought? We're gonna sorry, I wasn't expecting. Finally, a laugh this evening. Finally, I've waited all bloody night to smile, and I finally had it. Stephen, what's your thoughts on the team selection?
Welcome to after-match domestics.
No, I'm keeping an eye on her. She was in hospital yesterday, so I'm keeping an eye on her.
Oh, bless her. God bless you, Mr. Barry.
I'm like everybody else. I'm frustrated with it. Where we keep changing teams, and it's difficult. We're not able to get a settled side. If you don't play players regularly, they can't get settled. I'm understanding McKenna's point where, what if a player gets injured and someone's not played many minutes? They've got to come in and hit the ground running. But unfortunately, that's football. It happens to everybody else. And. Or is it the situation where we've bought these players and these players are all demanding to play and he has to find a way to play them somehow? Well, they're not very happy. Well, I'm sorry. He wants to get his 11, well, at least his 15 best players and say to the rest of them, say, look, if these don't play, you get a chance. If they play well, you don't get a chance. If they don't like it, then the door's there. Because us being successful is more important than upset players. And I think at the moment, he's a bit stuck between keeping everybody happy and getting results. When we're getting results, everybody's happy. Yeah. But when you have a couple of games where you don't play very well, and we've changed, because we've all seen it, we've had many a game where we've changed the team, everybody's complained about the teams, and then we won the game and nobody's bothered. This is only an issue when something goes wrong. If we win the game, nobody cares. And I'll say tonight, if we made all these changes and we beat Blackburn, nobody cares. We changed the team. It only matters when it doesn't work.
Yeah, and it's not working a lot more than it is at the moment. And at the moment, Coxie, this is frankly is dreadful. I'd written a show title out, and I changed it when Egley finally got his first Town goal, and it's great to see him up and running. But it's not acceptable, is it, to take 5 points from a fixture run of Wrexham, Hull, Blackburn and Oxford. You've not looked good in any of them. You may have taken 3 points away at Hull, which is a good place to go and win at, particularly with Hull and the form that they've shown early part of the season. But you've not played well in any of them. Today was so bad that so many people messaged me saying, I've switched it off, I can't watch this, and all different other types of things about the performance. It's just not acceptable. The league table is such that you will be there or thereabouts because the division is much of a muchness. They all take points off each other, so you'll never be a million miles away. While you do put up some points on the board, so it's 5 points. It's not acceptable having 5. I don't think after that run of games, but those 5 points will keep you in touch where you need to be in touch. It'll never look as bad as it perhaps should do, but performances, Coxie, that's 3, certainly 4 dreadful performances when the club have invested in players. And the selection is consistently and constantly baffling. It's baffling, Coxie.
You can always make statistics show what you want. There's another way of looking at it. It's only 1 defeat in 7, isn't it? But yeah, what you said, it overrides that. The performances, Wrexham, and Oxford, and Hull, and what we spoke off screen, that sort of. Perhaps however minutes of the Hull game where we did pull it around, we looked good, but it is absolutely, the performances are not a crap. They are crap. There's no other ways about it. And then the obvious thing is then to look at the selections. How can players get a bit of form going, get a good confidence? So football players are human beings after all, so how are they going to get any confidence? How they're going to get patterns of play when things, perhaps Steve is right. Perhaps there is too much of this trying to keep everybody happy. Well, January is only a month away. If you're not happy, then go and knock on Mr. Ashton's door and say, I want to go.
Some of the games have been unacceptable, and yes, we can at the end of the day, we can all sit here and say, it's changing the team that's the main issue. I think it's a issue. I don't think it's the issue. Yeah, because when we change the game and win, nobody cares. When we change the game and lose, everybody moans. So it is an issue, but that's not the reason why we're losing. Because if it was, we wouldn't be winning the games that we changed the team with as well. So it's also the players aren't performing. No matter who we drop in, doesn't seem to want to perform. Everybody keeps going, play Clark on the right. We played him on the right. It was bloody awful. He really was awful. He was poor. I'd rather have kept McAteer out there than him. He was bloody awful. All Twitter is going, play Clark on the right. We've got to play Clark and Philogene. Why? Neither of them can play out on the right, so why play him? But this is sort of things that managers and players will hear, yeah? And they'll go, well, I'm going to have to do this, otherwise the fans will be on my back. And then they do it, like Akpom in the 9. I still say he's not a 9. I don't think he's a 10. I'm not convinced I'm sure what he is. I said a couple of weeks back on Twitter, maybe we should start thinking about sending him back in January and getting somebody else, because it ain't working for me.
But he looks good up front, to his credit.
He did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm sorry. I thought Azon was more effective up front than he was.
Okay. Yeah, Mike D's not a huge fan of Azon. We've had that conversation in the Discord this evening.
I'm not a huge fan of Azon. I'm sorry.
But as you said earlier on, Steve, if the long ball game, you're going to play long ball against 3 mountains of centre-backs, a one man up front, you're not going to get anything, are you?
But the thing is, when we played the long ball over the defender and McAteer was running onto the ball, he was getting that ball first. He was quicker than the fullback, he was stronger than the fullback, and he got in 2 or 3 times with a long ball, a long straight ball over the fullback that he could run onto. If you play it to McAteer's feet, that's not his game. His game is over his head so he can run onto it. And every time that ball was played over his head, running onto it, he was either first there or he was challenging for it there. and he was getting joy in that down that position. So you have to play to players' strengths, And Azon's not a big header of the ball, so they're flinging balls in the box, hoping he can head the ball. Don't do that if that's not his strength. Leave it for when Hurst comes on, because that's more his strength. I just think players and this can't all be McKenna, because that just, I'm sorry, it just lets the players off.
Well, this is it though, Stephen, isn't it?
Make decisions in the moment. They have to make a decision. Is this pass right or is this pass right in the moment? Yeah. And that can't be the manager's fault, because he can't micromanage everybody on the field. The players have to take responsibility.
But this is it.
That they just aren't playing very well.
And this is it. And I think if he selected a more consistent team, it does put more of the responsibility, I would say, on the players' shoulders, because not many people would question certain selections, certain players, etc., etc. But if they weren't performing, there's then nowhere to hide. It has to be, as Stephen was saying, more responsibility. It's this constant changing where you watch the game and you look at Blackburn's front three, and they all have an understanding with each other about where they're all going to be. When I receive this ball to feet, I know my left winger will be making a move behind the shoulder of the right back. I know to get it, turn it, and play it into that corner. You only develop that by chemistry, and you only build chemistry by consistently playing with each other, Coxie, and knowing where the player likes the ball, to his feet, or perhaps over the defender's head. These little things you pick up, and I just feel the constant changing is really where it comes about. And then you throw into the fact tonight, Blackburn were more energetic than us. They didn't look anywhere near as lethargic as we did, but we're the side that's constantly changing. That should be a real strength of this approach, should it not, Coxie? That you're energetic, you've constantly got bags of energy because you're all fresh and you're all ready to go. Should that not be the case?
Well, our teams had one day extra. If that is the actual thing that we. And I think a lot of our performances now, you say, have lacked that sort of energy, that sort of va-va-voom, but there can't be an excuse tonight with an extra day's rest than Blackburn. Now, Blackburn played on Saturday, we played on Friday. But yeah, that's another thing to listen. But as I made the point earlier, how can players develop understandings, develop that subconsciousness that, yeah, well, I know I played alongside Martin and Steve. I know Steve's going to be there and Martin's going to be there. So I know where to put the ball. But you're not going to get that if you're not playing alongside each other. You get to know that. That's so it's sort of muscle memory. It sort of subconsciously, they're going to be there. Well, to stick the ball there, and there's a good chance they're going to get it.
It's like doing it's like doing anything, but like even a show like this. We've all worked. We've all come together and created this content over the course of a season or a year. And when you have somebody new come and join, you have to learn how that person answers a question, how they approach it, what you can ask them, etc., etc. It's no different to any walk of life. And I think football particularly, it has to be a game of understanding and partnerships. And Carl Williams said, I can't build any chemistry with all these nonsensical changes. It's the performances, says James in the chat. I think they're talking about the performances in the chat. We do support the Town up or down. That's why it hurts so much, Colin, because we all absolutely love and obsess over this football club. It's why it hurts us all. It's why it brings us all together. It's why it builds us up. It's what you all look forward to, right? All day long.
Yeah, that's why we're hurting, Colin, yeah.
Anyway, and we're fourth, but not fourth yet. But every single I'm foreshadowing. But every single person has been looking forward to this game today. Every single person has been building up to coming home from work, trying to find 20 minutes while they're at work, wherever they might be doing. So Town are playing tonight. I've got to make sure I hear it, I see it, I steal some time to catch it, and then when you get performances like that, they really start to gnaw at you. But I do change the team every show. I do, Lee. I change the team constantly, Lee. That's what I do, man. I'm a tinker man. I've learned from the very best. All right, don't forget we are partnered with someone called Osteopath Quality Care since 1985. Osteopath and Physiotherapy Services since 1985. Give them a call on 01449 613 633. That's 01449 613 633. And we've teamed with Match Bingo to give you a 100% deposit bonus when you use the word Town, all in caps. You can get a 100% deposit bonus by using the word Town, all in caps. The deposit minimum is £10, and while bonus cash can't be withdrawn, the winnings can be. So get a 100% deposit bonus by using that word Town all in caps, and combine the excitement of live sport, the person who wrote this clearly never watched Ipswich Town play, with the thrill of bingo. Over 18s only, T&Cs apply. Please, whatever you do, gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information to play. Scan the QR code next to their logo on screen now or link in the description. I've said those now because after those 90 minutes, I am on my feet. I run a race, not literally, obviously. I've sat in my chair and felt like I've run a race watching that. But I want to get some fan reaction. So I'm going to come to those that have clicked the link now. Don't forget you can leave your messages on our voice messaging services, speakpipe.com/talkingtown. I'll start with Beard. Beard, welcome in. What's your thoughts this evening? Can't hear you, Beard. Fisherman, your time has come. Your number is on the board. We have made a substitution. Beard out, Fisherman in. Are you a Chindalavali-Egli style of, replacement? Are you going to bring the finishing touch to this show?
Is anyone still awake? Is anyone still awake? Is what Mike put on Facebook or Twitter earlier on. That's bloody right.
Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah.
McKenna, thin ice for you.
No, it's time for him to go.
Speak.
Absolutely time for him to go. I'm not having this. Look, we've spent a hell of a lot of money, right? We had major failings in the Premier League. We bought poor recruitment in the Premier League, bar maybe a couple of players. The style of play, the way we played, we got found out quite quickly in the Premier League. And Sunderland have proved if you get it right, you can, if you consider Sunderland weren't a great team in the Championship last season, but they've recruited sensibly and carefully, and they're currently sat fourth in the Premier League. Well, they were until tonight, sat fourth in the Premier League. But this season, we talk about what happened with Paul Cook and the bomb squad. That's just happened with our team that got to the Premier League. We got out of League One, and realistically, any half decent manager would have got us out of League One. Had with the players that we brought in, and the players that the money that we'd spent on those players. We had a Championship squad in League One, and the momentum, the team, that's the word, the team, the camaraderie, the playing for each other, the bond that team had got us to the Premier League. And what we've got now is we've got a squad of players that are being treated like youth football, and that everyone has to have a game. And McKenna, you look at managers that have done well and have ended up. Look at Klopp this season; he's under pressure. Won the Premier League last year. Leicester won the Premier League with Ranieri. Ranieri kept on the season after, or season after that, he was doing what McKenna's doing, constantly messing around with the team, constantly changing things. For me, look, I've seen some pretty poor players at Portman Road, but I will not have it that McAteer is a quality player. That boy is absolute. I mean, honestly, I'd rather have Jonathan Douglas and Caden Jackson over him.
Well, you would.
It just offers nothing. Anybody can have a ball. Anybody can have pace and have the ball chipped over the top and for him to run onto it. His final, but honestly, he couldn't deliver a letter, let alone deliver a decent ball.
I saw two fantastic balls he played in the first half. I'm sorry, but I can't agree with that. I don't think their balls were particularly good at all. You can't blame him for putting a perfect ball to be tapped into the goal.
They weren't. Sorry, Beat. They weren't good balls. He's not put a decent balls since he's been playing. He shouldn't even be in the bloody reserve side, let alone the.
I'm not saying he's the greatest player. I know you don't like him. I'm not saying he's the greatest player, but I won't have people turn around and say he hasn't done something. He's done something.
He hasn't done anything. He's done nothing since he's covered his club.
Nothing. There are players who's done nothing. Literally nothing.
Like who?
What? Well, I don't think Azon's hit the ground running.
Azon, I agree, but he's covered the second division.
Hit the ground running. Yeah.
No, I'm not a fan of Azon either.
Because Jack Taylor today was bloody awful.
Hang on a second. Jack Taylor's been really good of late. He's had one bad game, and suddenly he's on the same level as McAteer.
I don't think McAteer has played as bad. If people actually got the ball when he played the ball, he would have assists. he can't help it if attackers and midfielders don't run into the box. Because I can tell you one thing, that's one thing Blackburn were doing that we were not. When they were playing the ball in the box, everybody was running in the box. We had nobody. And that's not his fault. I agree.
No, but we had that with Wes Burns when at times
ball and no one runs in onto it. He's not. Is he bad because nobody can run in on the ball? No, he's done what he can do.
No, I don't agree, babe. I just the McAteer, honestly, he make Le Pen look an absolute genius. For me, he's one of the worst signings. 12 million euros or 13 million euros we paid for him. Leicester had our pants down for him. I'm telling you, right? Egley, I'm not sure that he's
Mike. He's only come from Leicester.
Well, I tell you
13 million. Yeah, I know, but if you go on the transfer talk, it's all in euros, isn't it? It's not in.
Well,
but we're equivalent to 11.5 million pounds.
It's a lot of
I
money.
think Leicester right now are lucky if Cifuentes is lucky if he keeps his job. Like right now, I think Leicester would have him back.
Well, honestly, right now, we've got a squad of players, right? That none of them is right. So you look at the players that have come into this squad and not performed, and yet in their previous club they did. Jack Clark, right? Has not really set the ground running. He's had flashes of good times, right? Smodic banged in goals for fun for Blackburn, hardly scored for us. There
is a big reason for that, Mike. We all know. You know, they were
parachuted
into our
Akpom. That's it. Akpom this season scored bundles of goals for Middlesbrough. Can't scored one goal for us. Hurst is not the same player because he doesn't have that creativity in the midfield. Our only shining light with this season, really, although Nunes didn't have a particularly good game the other day, but he's been a revelation. Yet he gets dropped. We had Greaves that had man of the match, gets dropped. We had Nunes had man of the match, gets dropped. What is Kieran McKenna doing? For me, he has completely lost the plot now. Right, and I'm fed up of people making excuses for him. He's the one that keeps changing 6 changes. You don't see Pep Guardiola doing that unless it's a cup game. I've never seen nothing like it. It's ridiculous.
I've agreed with what you said. I don't think changing all these players is very smart.
No.
The bottom of it is, if you look at Twitter every week, you could imagine McKenna looking at Twitter and making next week's changes based off Twitter, because we sit there and say Greaves has had a bad game. I don't want to see him play anymore. Then he gets man of the match. Everybody wants him to play. We can't even make our minds up what our best 11 is. Yeah, but I honestly think our back 4 is the best 11 with Greaves and with O'Shea. Yeah, I do think I'd rather keep Furlong at fullback. I'd rather keep Davis. To be honest, I'd rather keep at the moment Taylor and Matasiwa. I'd rather have Philogene and not Clark. I'd rather have Egelli at right back. I'd rather have Nunes at number 10, and I'd rather have Hurst at number 11. That's my team. That's what I'd pick. Yeah, but I'm not picking them. And the top of
and that's the issue, because you could see. But you see, I agree with what you said there to a point. I'm not sure Egelli is a right forward. I can't. I'm not sure on him. Is there a 10 in there? He's come out and said he can play the 10. Akpom, is he a 9? No. Is he a 10? No. I just find it, so. But if a player has a good game and he's man of the match and he's an outstanding performance, surely the best thing to do is to keep him in the squad for the next game.
I agree.
And play him, because it doesn't make no sense to draw. How does it? I mean, imagine you're the players. How does it help when you've just put a banner match performance in? You've got the fan base saying you've done it. You've got I don't know, Sky or whoever else, the club fan base, the club supporters group, whatever, saying the player's got man of the match. Next game, no, I'm going to drop you. It makes no sense whatsoever.
All right, let's
from the outside, it doesn't. All I'm saying is, from the outside, it doesn't. Yeah, but there are also things that happen behind the scenes that we don't know about that might change things. Maybe someone's had a bit of a knock and they probably couldn't start again. They probably couldn't do 75 minutes. Maybe something's been flagged up in the physicality aspect. Maybe they didn't train very well and he's gone. There's things like that can happen that we don't know about. You know, should the manager be a bit more forthcoming about the reasons why they haven't been selected? Of course he should, because I think that would inform us and it would make it easier for us to say, that's why he's not playing. Fair enough. Yeah. But they never do. Managers never do. And we just assume he's just decided to do it just for the hell of it. And sometimes...
But when them players are sat on the bench, right, we know that if they're on the bench, look, if you're on that bench, you're fit enough to play. No. That's bottom line. You're fit enough to play. So while I agree, there's things that we don't know and there's injuries that we don't know, right? But it still comes back to the thing. If you're fit enough to be on that bench, you're fit enough to play. I don't subscribe to this. We can't play. Players can't play 3 games a week. I don't subscribe to it. We had Morsey in League One and in Championship in the Premier League playing near enough every week, right? We got a Matasiwa who's playing every game. O'Shea playing every game. Matasiwa's red rating on a map, on his heat map, was on the last game was all over. It was he's covering all over. So if he's fit enough to do every game, why O'Shea's fit enough to do every game, why isn't 4 forwards who are not fit enough to play every game? They don't do the kind of running that what the midfield do. And I find it staggering that McKenna can't, this so-called genius, up-and-coming, superb manager. I think McKenna started to believe his own hype. I genuinely do. I think he's got stubborn. I think he's become too comfortable within the club. And I think he needs to sit down with Ashton and the owners and explain what we've been watching for the last few weeks. Because, yes, we've got some good results. But even them good results, we've had some shit performances in with that good result. And we cannot continue to do this. We've spent, like I said, we've spent all this money, right? And we're currently sitting outside the playoffs. That's not good enough.
Yeah, but Mike,
it really isn't.
I just think it's something so basic that we're just not thinking of. I just don't think McKenna trusts these players as much as he trusted the other group. That's why he can't pick them every week, because because we all know, we see Philogene play. He'll play a couple of good games, then he'll have a couple of awful games. Yeah. Clark, he'll have a couple of good games, then a couple of bad games. He can't trust them to pick them every week because he doesn't know whether they're any good to play every week.
But then this is the squad he's built, is it not?
I'm not saying it's not. He's not got any responsibility in it. Yeah, I'm saying it's probably a reason why he's a bit like umming and ahhing about who starts and who doesn't start, because he's not seen consistency from any of them, So he has to be blamed. At the end of the day, you can turn around and blame him for that. Of course you can. But the top and bottom of it, he's at the end of the day, it's like everything else. Yeah, he's chosen to get these players. Some of them, we've all said, even a lot of people said Clark wasn't right for us when we got him, and he was. I don't think he was. He wasn't the player we needed. Yeah, it's because we didn't get the player we needed. Yeah, and in the end, we ended up getting the player we wanted. We all know if we'd have got Philogene right from the off, we'd never have got Jack Clark. We got Jack Clark because we didn't get Philogene, and then later on, we did get Philogene. So there was always big brouhaha. I just think
the question I've got is, obviously there's going to be many at home that will look at the league table and say we're 7th position. It hasn't been plain sailing, but you are 7th. You're not a million miles away from 2nd. You still play Stoke, Coventry, and Millwall in the forthcoming month. It could all look very different as you enter the crucial January window. What would you say back to those people? I'll start with you, Mike, as sort of the most vocal. The person who's come out and
the gobbyiest, you mean? That's what you really mean.
Well, you said it. But what would you say to those people? Then,
look. But 3 weeks ago we had this. If we win this game in hand, we'll be 2nd. If we beat Hull, who do we play? I can't remember last game now. Jesus.
Oxford.
Sorry.
Oxford.
Oxford, we beat Oxford, we'll be second. We beat Blackburn, we'll be second. We'll be right up there. We haven't beaten them. We lost to an absolute shambolic side in Oxford through poor defending, poor decision making, and again, another thing with Kieran McKenna is most of the time, near enough every game this season, last season, we can always predict when he's going to do the substitutions. There's nothing unpredictable about McKenna. And the way the way he plays the game, there's nothing unpredictable. I've said this before: 3 ways of beating a team: through them, over them, round them. We do it. We cannot beat these low block teams by playing through them. And the only time we ever seem to do well is when we play over them or through or round them. And that's what we need to do. This Leif Davis role inverted. There was a prime example of why Leif Davis should not be playing this inverted left back role, because he cut across Philogene when he was just about to put a cross in, whereas normally Davis would have gone round the outside, a player would have lobbed him in. That's where he got all his assists from, pinging that ball across the box. And I agree, there has been times when balls have gone across the box and there hasn't been players in the box. I'm not a great fan of Azon. I thought there was something about him, but I don't think he's good enough. Hurst is never going to get us 20 goals a season because he's never done that. And we've scored plenty of goals, but the performances have been absolutely dire. Tonight, wow. How I stayed awake in that first half, I don't know.
I don't know. We're all asking the same question to ourselves about us all staying awake. But Mike, we appreciate you coming on the show.
Pleasure, guys. Yeah,
fantastic points. And put across really well. Take care, my friend. All right, all the best.
All the best, guys. Take care. Yeah.
Some excellent comments coming in while Mike is on giving his points as well, and throughout the course of the show. So thank you all so much for being with us. And I think, as Marvin so sort of expertly or well rounded up, he says the consistent point nearly everyone is making is please stop the constant mass rotation. Would you agree with that, Coxie? Is that the overriding consensus of every Town fan? Whether they're saying pump the brakes, we're 7th, it's all, it could look different come 1st of January, or whether they're happy, or not happy with the performance. The consistent selection has to happen, does it not?
We've all three of us have alluded to that tonight. Mike's alluded to that. There's comments, and it's actually these changes. I know we've got a difference of opinion around other things, keeping players happy, but the changes are baffling, and 5 or 6 changes every game. It's bonkers.
Too much, yeah.
Absolutely bonkers. How can you? I said it before. How can you expect to get understanding with your teammates?
I completely agree.
Common sense to me. Yeah.
Well, we're live again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Myself, Mark, and Ben. And Ben has already said he's got a lot to get off his chest about this evening. So that, if you like,
I want to say one thing before I go. Yeah,
it
was a poor game. I know the rotations didn't help. Yeah. We'd all love situations where we'd like a more consistent team. I still think McKenna's struggling to find a consistent team because I don't think the players are very consistent. Because he has played, we've played several players for quite a few games, and there's only been 1 or 2 players who are consistent, and guess what? They're the only ones who have been consistently in the side, But I do think tonight it was a difficult one. I mentioned this to Gov early on this afternoon. I was worried about tonight because they would have been up for this one more than any other game. Any other game, they wouldn't have cared if they were lost on Saturday. Yeah, it was this one they cared about. Yeah, and the only thing I'm quite happy about is that they scored a goal. We scored in the 91st minute. Yeah, well, you can score in the 91st minute. Yeah, let's end it there.
Absolutely. Any more opinions, please do leave them on our voice messaging service. That is, of course, speakpipe.com/talking town. We're back, as I say, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Myself, Mark, and Ben. And Ben's going to bring very similar points to the Fishermen. So do join us live tomorrow. But until then, thank you for watching. Thanks for being with us. Like and subscribe for all your Town fan news, views, fan opinion, and more. Thanks to Stephen. Thanks to Coxie. But until tomorrow night, try and sleep well. But Town are 7th. They're, look for the positives in life. Take care. You've reached the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit here to subscribe. It's totally free. And hit here for more Talking Town videos. I'll see you on the next one.